Also want to get to some of those fans who actually don't understand yards after the catch. You had a great post on Twitter that actually showed
Oh my
all the
God.
particular, teams and how much they average yards after the catch. I think Kansas City Chiefs averaged nearly 2,700 yards. Now that does mean that Patrick Mahomes has about 3,000 yards in the air, or close to. If he had, I think he had. No, that'd have been 2,000, whatever it was, 2,000 yards in the air. So I get why people are saying it, but stop just trying to find something to nitpick about Justin. Like, he can't do anything about the fact that, hey, he took it to the house. What do you want me to do? I made the pass. Boom, he caught it. Touchdown. All right, the series is over. All right, we scored. Like, be happy. Like, stop finding something to pick at right now. Like, what the heck is the problem here? Now, I know I've been on the fence of saying, hey, I want to see him do more. But if the play worked, the play worked.
Yeah.
Like, sit down somewhere. Let the stuff develop. Give this some time. Give him some time, like I've been asking the city of Chicago to do, and just let it just roll with it a little bit. Be happy. Like, you're not going to see this man take 40-yard Hail Marys like this is Madden just because you play like that on the weekend. Don't mean that that's how the actual game is played. Like, chill out.
And
so I thought
it,
that was something worth bringing up.
Yeah, I just love it because, right, like you look at this and look how easy it was, right? 3 for 3 on the completion percentages, ends up with 2 touchdowns. We got a Joe struggling out here today, man. Joe was on the move. Joe had to go pick up his kids, man. 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big shout out to super producer Joel Holt out here. And like that's what you want to see. That's how you make his life easier. And a guy like this is who does it, right? 1 reception, 1 touchdown, 62 yards. That's how you have those days, very much like what we talk about with A.J. Brown and how he cooked that one day, right, where it's 182 yards. Yeah, but some of those are just big plays that you see at the beginning. All the time we see those plays. All the time we talk about Tyreek Hill having those big yardage days, or Justin Jefferson having those big yardage days. You get those big yardage days by getting that yak, yards after the catch. I need a cognac sponsor on this channel right now. We are looking for a cognac sponsor right now because I think that's going to be the theme of the channel. Yak.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we're going to be talking about yak all season because here's the thing. You have guys now that can get it. And the main thing is, okay, if I play – first off, I don't believe there's a DB in the NFL that's fast enough to keep up with DJ Moore if you give him space. I just don't. You play this guy one-on-one, he's going to be able to cook you over the top, especially if you play him single high. If you're playing close up, trying to force Justin Fields to run, he's going to be able to find somebody deep, wide open. And so those are the things that when I look at how this Bears team has improved this offseason, I think it just starts with even just the names in the room being so vastly better. John Yurkovich said this. He said, this was a 7-win team last season that won 3 games because the Bears dismantled it. And I can't say he's wrong. You think about getting rid of Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks.
That's a bar.
Robert Quinn, you remove Roquan Smith from that defense. You ended up losing Eddie Jackson that year. You also had Allen Robinson on that team with Justin Fields taking steps forward. Would have been nice to have somebody that could catch the football. Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, pairing those two together. Now you still have Allen Robinson as your number 1, even though he did end up kind of having that fall off season. Maybe that doesn't happen if he's still here in Chicago. Like, I can see how you find your way to 7 wins. Oh, by the way, Cole Kmet finally proves all the stuff that he's learned at tight end U is actually applicable to the field. And we see him have a breakout season. So I could see this team last season being a 7-win team. And that's why they removed everything from the team so that they could bottom this thing out and start it all over.
And the crazy thing is, we always talked about Justin needing help. We saw those games where it was like, hey, we need someone to make those extra plays. We needed a little bit more in these games where we lost 1-score games, last couple drives and stuff like that. And then you got people who complain when you see people do it on the first couple drives in the first game. We see them in pads.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Like, be for real. Be for real. Like, this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted as a fan base, as a city. You got it now. We didn't even see Justin didn't even have to run. Check that out.
And you want to know what the thing that he improved most on is, I'm not going to lie, last season, think about that play to Khalil Herbert, right? Play breaks down on the right side. He ends up having a roll out left. Khalil Herbert's underneath. What would Justin have done last season?
He would have took off.
100%.
He took off. No,
he'd have been
questions
gone.
about it.
He'd have been gone. That is growth. That is, to me. And guess what? He would have scored. He'd have took off. Khalil Herbert would have been blocking. The 2 offensive linemen would have been ahead of him. He would have ended up scoring a touchdown. We'd be sitting here losing our minds saying, oh, Justin has 1 pass and 1 rushing touchdown. But no, instead, he takes the check down. He takes the man underneath, which was still the right man to go to. And it was the intended receiver there. He ends up taking that one, and that ends up going to the house. That, to me, is one of those situations now where I can clearly see, even though it's only 3 plays, I understand it's 3 passing plays in total. I can see growth from Justin Fields from last year to this year.
On top of that, we didn't even get to see the full weaponry on display. Chase Claypool wasn't involved in those plays. We didn't see Mooney when he's going to be available involved in those plays. We just got to see pretty much 2 complete drives. 2 players make phenomenal moves, and that was it. Right? It's like realistically, we didn't see what we really look like, but what we did see were the things that we didn't have last season, which was elite skill at one position. And, Khalil Herbert, I think, is rightly so getting his just due. Like, we saw what he could do when he stepped in for Montgomery. He's doing a good job continuing that, and he's earned his keep. And at this point, you just roll with it. I think the only person we didn't see a lot from, and I mean, you can only take that with a grain of salt because the Titans do have a pretty decent defense, is Donta Foreman. He didn't really have the opportunity to break out like he wanted to. But we know that ability is there. But outside of that, we got exactly what we wanted. We didn't even see our tight ends get busy. Well, and here's Cole Kmet. We've been praising Cole Kmet since he's been at tight end U. We're just trying to see what he can do. We didn't even get to see him. Like,
realistically, we didn't get to see nobody get busy because 2 plays end up being the entire offense. But here's the part that excites me even with that, right? Like, if you do that in a regular season, you've got the Titans down with 2 quarterbacks. I don't care which one you put out there. Will Levis isn't doing that versus the number 1 defense, by the way, either. But he did look really good. He looked very poised in there. And it would have been Ryan Tannehill, realistically, in a regular game, right? Like, now you're behind the 8 ball. Yeah. Now, the only concern I did have, of course, no Derrick Henry in that game. If Derrick Henry's running, the rushing defense didn't look great, but just to kind of give you an idea on what was missing out there, there was no DeMarcus Walker, there was no Tremaine Edmonds, there was no Yannick Ngakoue, there was no Jaquan Brisker. So your defense, even with all of that, still ends up racking up 8 sacks.
Hey, wait. Now we got to see why what the impact of them not being there was, because this was a turnover fest for sure. That was not based off of the defense just forcing a lot of fumbles and stuff like that. That was probably the longest second quarter I've ever watched.
That second quarter was crazy, bro.
In my life, dog. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I'm telling you. I said this on the post game show on ESPN 1000. I said, man, y'all could have just put on the Benny Hill music and just called it a day, bro. You just speed that joint up, bro, and let the ball go back and forth.
I think it was like 4 minutes left in that second quarter, and I heard him say 6 turnovers.
6 turnovers, bro. 6 turnovers in that month. But here's the thing, right? To me, the part that gets me excited is none of those guys are out there, and you see what this Bears defense was able to do. Nice. 80 tackles, 8 sacks, 11 QB hits, 4 tackles for loss. No Yannick Ngakoue, no DeMarcus Walker. This is telling me that you have pressure even when you remove some of those guys. And to me, Zach Pickens had himself a heck of a day. One of the guys I was really, really high on seeing out there, man, being able to see him, what he was able to go out there and do. We had him on the Chicago Bears podcast. Check out that interview as well. Mm-hmm. And he just talked about what he wants to come out. And he said, listen, at the end of the day, I want to be able to dent the pocket and just find my way into the backfield. He was able to do both of those things on Saturday. And I was really excited to see it.
By the way, shout out to Joe, super producer Holt, because that's a great graphic right there. My man be putting in work on it. He's having fun. He's having the time of his life, realistically.
Oh, bro, he's loving this. Yeah. He's loving this part.
We don't want to take this for granted. Like, ultimately, everything that you see coming together is Joel is actually really leading that charge. And, I'm really appreciative of the work that he does, because he really didn't have to. So I really appreciate it. Moving into the thought that what some people saw, did Javon get injured?
So Javon, basically, I think he caught a cramp because he was trying to